Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod called Codename oldsfullsize. And if you install both parts of this mod, you get a ton of vehicles. Obviously, there's no way I could do all these vehicles in a single video, so we're just going to do a selection of them. And we're going to start with this one, which is the oldsfullsize Codename oldsfullsize prototype, which is basically the base model version of the vehicle. And we could do a little bit of performance testing. We can start off by doing a 0 to 60 test because this thing is pretty slow. So we're going to stop right here. And then we're going to start accelerating now. And we're going to see just how long it takes this thing to get from 0 to 60 miles per hour. We're also doing this on a little bit of an incline, so it makes it 0 to 60 look even worse than it actually is, probably by only maybe like half a second or something, though. And there it is, 60 miles per hour in what felt like a little bit over 10 seconds. Yeah, this is by no means a fast vehicle. It's a pretty pedestrian vehicle, I would say. But it's actually accelerating, and this gear keeps holding. Does it have any more gears, or is this the top gear? Oh, there it goes. It shifted. For a second, like, it was just holding that gear for so long. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I out of gears? Now we got that gear, too. And I see something fun to hit right in front of me. Here we go. Fly, oldsfullsize. And minimal damage, except for the fact that the engine was flooded and the tire just exploded. Ha! The trunk is, like, floating. It looks so funny. Like, somehow the trunk is just holding in air so it can keep itself above the water. So that really wasn't a crash test, though, because we didn't really damage the car. We just drowned it in a lake. So let's try to actually crash this into something. We got to get it up to speed first, though, and I'm thinking let's go 80 miles per hour for the crash test. That's a good speed where if I mess up, I'll still have enough momentum to actually crash into something else. And if I wanted to slide into something, I'll slide and lose maybe 20 miles per hour and still have a 60 mile per hour impact. So there's the 80. I see some trees up here, not exactly the best angle, but I'm going to try it out. So go ahead and just get it right into the tree. And it is on fire, but it still puts the power down. Does not really steer, though. The right front of the suspension is broken, and the left also appears to be broken. If I steer, it does absolutely nothing. But we could actually keep accelerating until we hit a tree. We're just bouncing off of them somehow. There's a hit. No, we just bounced again. There's a hit into the tree, and that one actually broke the drive shaft, which I would have expected the first one to do considering it caught fire, but somehow the drive shaft kept going. Well, that's kind of interesting. The transmission shoved into the interior. I did not expect that. We actually haven't looked at the interior when it's not utterly destroyed, so let's just go ahead and respawn this so you can see what it looks like when it's not destroyed. And the one thing you'll notice about this interior is just how boxy it is, which makes sense because the outside of the vehicle also looks very boxy. And it has all of the functionality you can imagine. So it has a working steering wheel, working pedals, a working gear shifter. So you can see when I put it into park, it goes into park. And then we also have a light on the dash that lights up when you put it into park. So right now, we're in park. It's slowing down. And you have the light on. I'm not sure if the light's to say, hey, you're in park, or if it's your parking brake, because I can't quite read it from here. But it does have a light for that. And then if you want to put your blinkers on, there's a little light for the blinker. And the lever on the stock will move. You put your headlights on, the dash lights up. And you can see the speedometer a little bit more clearly, which is functional. So you can see it going up and down. And it's a very retro-looking speedometer. It's not just a simple circular gauge. So I'm sure that probably had to be a little bit extra effort to make it function properly. And then you have high beams as well. And there's a really small light right above the speedometer that comes on when you put the high beams on. But you might not be able to see it because after YouTube compresses the video, it does lose some quality. So it makes it really hard to see that kind of stuff. And then we could go ahead and take a quick pan around the rest of the interior and not even look at where we're going. So we're probably going to crash really soon. Yep, there it is. The back end doesn't look too bad, but the front is absolutely ruined. And you notice there are a bunch of new lights on the dash saying everything has gone wrong because WhyBeAre crashed the car. So now that you have a good idea how the base model performs, let's take a look at how a race model performs. We're going to go with the Delta 88 AR162B racing version of the vehicle. And we're going to switch to the exterior camera once this thing loads up. Because when you're inside the car, you see absolutely nothing because you're inside of Stig's head. So this mod does support having ragdolls in the vehicle. You have three choices. You have Stig, Stigette, which is like a female-looking version of the Stig, and then a regular-looking crash test dummy. And for some reason, when I spawned this car up, it destroyed my frame rate. Like, we are hitting 20 frames per second about right now, which is absolutely awful. I might as well just upload this as a PowerPoint presentation. This thing is running so slow. So we're going to crash this real quickly and load up another map and see if that will fix the lag or if it's something with this vehicle in specific, because this is the first time I've driven the race version of this vehicle. There's some damage. All of it looks pretty reasonable for the impact. Even got a little bit of damage on the rear. Now let's swap out this map to one that'll hopefully lag a little bit less. I'm going to go with just a regular stock map like Jungle Rock Island here. And if spawning up the car does cause it to lag here, there's something wrong with the car. If it doesn't, then I would blame the mapper on, because that map is so big, BeamNG.drive might just be freaking out because of the size of the map and teleporting around it a little bit when we respawn the car. So just driving it right here. Ooh! Frame rate's still not that good. Although once I came to a stop, it's smoothed out a ton and we're at 60 frames per second. That's weird, but then I start driving and we do have a noticeable dip than what I would have using a stock car here. Interesting. Very, very interesting. It's not as bad as the other map though, where we're hitting like 20s. We're just in the 50s, which I'm almost certain we'd get like 60s through here, which is what I have my frame rate limited to while I'm recording videos, but just kind of unexpected that it would cause so much lag. Anyways, as you can see, this thing is pretty fast, and it also has a custom sound, which I'll go ahead and let you guys listen to right now. By now you probably have a good idea of what the car sounds like, so I'm going to go ahead and talk over everything again. Now we could go through the tunnel, and if only it echoed through the tunnel. But nope, it just sounds the exact same as when you're outside of the tunnel. Doesn't matter where you are, the car sounds the same. Anyways, let's go ahead and crash this one and then pull out a different version of the vehicle, because we've been playing this game for way too long to have only driven 2 versions of the vehicle. So I flipped it over, and Stig is still perfectly in his seat because he was buckled in tight. And we're going to just kind of choose them at random, basically. Like, we had a fast one. How about we go with a really slow one, the Junkyard version even, which is going to spawn upside down, and we're going to have to fix it. Now, this one also has a different engine sound, and I don't know if we could drive it from there, so I'm just going to teleport it right here, get us a repaired one, or at least as repaired as it can get, and then we'll go ahead and get driving, and I'll let you listen to what this one sounds like. And once again, no sound difference in the tunnel. It sounds exactly the same. Although this thing would sound awful echoing through the tunnel, where the other one would have sounded pretty good echoing through a tunnel. So this thing also has a wacky suspension. It feels like it's super worn out, so it just wobbles about on the road, as you see right here. Just wobbling, wobbling, wobbling. The brakes are absolutely terrible. We slam on the brakes, and they are not grabby enough to actually get the wheels to lock up. So in a way, it's like the poor man's ABS. Except, unlike ABS, it just makes your braking way, way worse. For example, slamming on the brakes and not steering, I would go into the dirt. I wouldn't crash into the tree, but I would go in the dirt. So let's go and wreck this one, and then we'll pull out yet another version of the car. I see a perfectly placed tree right there. We're going to hit that at a lower speed because this thing doesn't have enough power to really get going, as you've seen so far. And if it still wants to drive, I'll let it. Well, it wants to, but the front right is kind of messed up. Well, we're moving. Hey, that's moving enough for me to give it another hit. 20 miles per hour already. I mean, it wasn't that fast in the first place. It's getting most of its power down, no problem, without losing a lot because of the fact that I'm having to steer a lot to keep it going straight. Got a little bit of a downhill going. We are starting to overheat, so let's just get this a crash. Not that fast, unfortunately. But there is a crash that took off a couple of body panels right there. The doors are gone. So you can see on the inside also looks different. It has like a really worn out looking inside. So let me actually give you a fresh one to see that. You can see the inside it looks like discolored basically. That's the easiest way to describe it. It just looks weird and gross. Like you see there's actually stains on the seats and stains on the side of the car. It's just filthy and disgusting in here. Like right there's a big old stain on that chair. Nasty looking car. By the way, I could reverse this thing with the parking brake engaged very, very easily. I could accelerate with the parking brake engaged even easier. Like, it barely slows me down. All right, next version of the car we're going to take a look at is going to be a fast one. Got to go back and forth. So we're going to do the Delta 88 sedan supercharged 800 horsepower work in progress. So I don't know how finished this thing is, but hey, if it has the 800 horsepower, that's all I care. Which it feels like it does. We're already going about 100 miles per hour. And there's no way I could go through this tunnel gently. We're going to go fast and violently. Nope. I was hoping I could bounce a little bit. That did not go as I would plan. And, hey, we're back up, but can't drive. Nuh-uh. So we'll just teleport this thing back a little bit into the tunnel so we could actually drive it again. There we go. And we'll swap it once again real quickly for something else because that one's kind of a one-trick car to me. It's like, hey, it goes fast, and that's about it. So let's go ahead and use the Delta 88 Crash Test 2. So this one actually has all the little stickers you would see on a crash test car, and it has a crash test dummy in it. And unlike the Stig, I'm pretty sure the crash test dummy will actually bounce around the car when you crash it. So this one feels pretty similar to the base model. Not that fast, but fast enough to get it up to 60 miles per hour for a crash. And we're just going to go whoop. Oh, we didn't actually crash into that. It just broke my suspension. Fine, we'll go whoop. There we go. And did the crash test dummy flail about? Yes, he did. He's now sitting in a fetal position because he got so scared from the crash. Gotta do that again and actually watch the dummy so you can see him bounce around in the inside of the car, hopefully. So we gotta get it up to speed again on the exact same road, and we're gonna find a different place to crash where you'll hopefully be able to see things nice and easy. So not on the bridge, and I could try that tree, but it's kind of an awkward angle, so we're just gonna keep going. There's a good tree to probably hit. So watch the crash test dummy. He's already bouncing about. Now he smashes his face into the window. And then he's just going to relax in the car back where he started. So he actually did a pretty good job of not falling out of the car. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's almost impossible for him to actually fall out of the car on an impact like that. You'd have to have something crazy to make him fall out of it. Keep on driving if it will. It's driving terribly. Let's not. Let's go and just reset it and grab yet another version of the car. This time we're going to go with this one, which has possibly the longest name I've ever seen for a car. It's the Olds Full-Size, strong brakes, good engine, fresh paint, and a roll cage Let's Go Derby version of the car. That is a crazy name, but it has a cool looking paint job. At least from the thumbnail it did. Maybe not as cool as the thumbnail looked. It's a little bit more raw than I expected, but it looks alright. And this one has the same engine sound you heard in the drag version, and it's definitely faster than the one we were driving just a second ago. This thing, it's like you gotta respect it a little bit. And I'm pretty sure every version of the car I've driven up until this point has no sort of traction control or anything like that, but I think there are some that do, or at least it's a part you can add to the vehicle. But I don't need no stinking traction control. I'm just gonna crash it anyway, so what's the point? Although right there I actually missed the crash. Do a light crash. You notice the trunk pops up in a funny way sometimes, like right there, it's just popped up. So you can kind of take a peek inside and not pay attention to when you're driving and drive directly off the road like a complete idiot. This time, let's hit a tree. That was a little laggy. Roll cage held the car's shape pretty well. Stig looks pretty happy in there, like he is proud of his crash. Don't know why he would be, but that's what he looks like. And I probably shouldn't have respawned the car back here, so we're just going to actually go back to where we were. We're going to swap it out for yet another version. This time, how about we go with a police version? We actually have 3 different versions. We're going to go with the special one. Because I'm special. Hopefully it's not stuck in a tree. It's not. Now this thing looks stupidly fast for a police car. Like, police cars should not look this fast, but this one does. And we can turn on that little tiny alley light on the side right there, and I'm pretty sure if I remember the key, we could also turn on the sirens. Doesn't make a noise, but it actually lights stuff up. You got sirens on the top, on the back, and then also you got the lights on the side they're lighting up. And this thing is a death trap, it feels like, going around this place. Like, one mistake and we're slamming into a tree at 100 miles per hour. So let's just have that mistake. That looked funky. Like, those bushes right there, they just messed everything up. They slowed me down and they slowed my frame rate down. So let's just go ahead and get out of this map and go somewhere else. I'm thinking maybe East Coast USA, but that also has the bushes. So how about instead of that, we do Small Island, USA. And now it's time for yet another version of this car. This time we're going to go with the Yellow Cab Taxi, because this seems like a pretty good-looking car for a taxi skin, so I wanted to use it for that. And yeah, that fits pretty well. Performance-wise, I expect this thing to be pretty similar to the base model. Maybe a little bit faster, but nothing spectacular about it. Nah, it's not a little bit faster. Maybe. It's hard to tell because we're on an incline and bouncing all over the place. So let's stop the incline and stop the bouncing by having an impact. A light impact, because I'm still driving fairly well. And then another impact. That one should finish it off. Basically, yeah, I could drag it along at 3 miles per hour, but there's no fun in that. So we'll go ahead and swap it for yet another one. This time we'll do the Regency Sedan by Magic Car Sales. Freshly restored, rebuilt, and repainted. Just the way I like my cars. It even has a little sticker in the window saying, hey, it's for sale, buy me. I just did. Actually, I'm just taking it for a test drive. Then we wreck it, and then we say, nah, I don't want this thing. It's all beat up. Even though they just fixed it up, I wrecked it. Ha, ha, ha. Good airtime. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Like, it actually had it where the paint appeared through when you damaged it. That I have never seen before. That is a good choice of car to test that out on. What if we like really wrecked it? Does it get any more than that, or is it just a single layer? We're just gonna real quickly try to go bounce it around a little bit like this. You know, it also has hydros. You didn't know that, did you? So it looks like no. And I've made this thing super floppy in the middle by grabbing it there. But that is cool the way it just changed colors like that from the impact. I want to see that in like slow motion. Like, I want to see, is it instantaneous or is it gradual over the whole body? I don't know how it works, but it looked neat. We're going to go slow-mo on. I'm going to hit that tree. So it is gradual. Like you see, there's only on the hood right now. And then as we hit that, I expect more of the car to start to appear damaged. I assume maybe on this side, you see the door has it. The fender has it. And then on this side, it's actually holding up okay. So you can only have a small section of the car looking like the paint's falling off, and the other side can look fine. That is really neat. Any other ones that might do that? I gotta check these out. So looking for ones that say like it's restored or something that's really bad restoration. No, I don't see any. I do see the Interstate Pizza delivery machine though. Gotta try that. Because, you know, when you order a pizza from a different state, yeah, you need a fast car to get to so it doesn't get cold. And this one has a different engine sound yet again, so I'm going to be quiet for a second so you can hear that. And now we're just bouncing it off the rev limiter because I can't steer and I'm just trying to go as fast as possible. So you're not going to hear nothing new at this point. We're just going to see how long it can go, which is about to there, and then it has died. All right, let's use one more version of the vehicle and then we'll be done. I was thinking about using the drag car, but that thing felt like a drag car, so I don't think I really need to use the drag car here. So instead, let's just get a normal looking one to finish it up. We're going to get the Regency Sedan V8 Diesel. Because everything else we've driven up until this point I don't think had a diesel engine. And the diesel does have a different sound, I'm pretty sure. So I'll let you listen to that one as well. Sounds pretty similar to the other one, but when you have it down low, you really hear it kind of idles like a diesel. Like, that's where you notice the difference. When you're actually revving it up, You don't notice too big of a difference unless you're doing them side by side, then I'm sure you notice it. But when I'm listening to it rev past 2,500, sounds pretty similar. Which, in a way, makes sense because they're both engines that are probably both V8s that are put in the exact same model car. So they would probably be pretty similar in terms of a lot of characteristics, aside from the fact one's diesel and one is gasoline powered. So I think that gives you a pretty good idea of how this vehicle performs. So let's just go ahead and finish this up in the way I always finish up the videos, in the most boring way possible, which is brutal slope and then leap of death. I was thinking about what car to use here, and then I realized I have the perfect car for the situation. We're doing a crash test, so obviously we use the crash test version of the car. Duh. How obvious is that? We'll start off nice and gentle right here. You know, maybe it's when the crash test dummy is in the car, or the Stig. Maybe they're like settling in the car, which causes it to lag. I'm not really sure, but I noticed again it kind of had that initial lag, but on this map, after it loaded up, we're well over 60 frames per second, I'm sure, but it's limited at 60, so it's only recording at 60. So going a little bit over 100 probably by the time we get to the impact if I keep this thing nice and straight, which I have done. Now, if you're doing a real crash test, you would only crash one side of the car. That's why you have the little stripe in the middle. But I can't have that kind of accuracy at 212 miles per hour. It's simply not going to happen with me as the driver. So instead, we're just going to crush the dummy right there. Where's that green coming from? Is the interior of the car green and I just didn't notice it? Oh, maybe it is. Either way, we have made the car a ball. Doesn't even look like a car at this point. It really got obliterated. So is the interior green? No, it's not. Well, maybe it is. Like I noticed on the dash a little bit, there's like a little bit of green. Maybe it's for the crash tests, like certain sides of the body panels are painted green. So if we lift this up, you got a little logo on that one. What if you pull the fender off or something? Oh, the underside is definitely painted green. There you go. And then, oh, the driveline's painted blue. That's pretty cool. So that's why it looks so green. All right, let's go ahead and try to convertibilize this. This is a test that the crash agencies all across the world do not do. But I'm going to do it anyways. Although they do a rollover test, which is in a way similar to this. This is testing the strength of the roof. Theirs is just in a much more practical way. Mine's like, I'm going to do a test for my banana to see if it's okay if I drop it. And to test this, I'm going to throw it in the blender. Like, yeah, I could have probably survived the drop, but it definitely didn't survive the blender. That's why these tests make no sense. Like, who would ever crash their car that doesn't even go 200 miles per hour at 220 miles per hour? I really don't know. Okay, 210 miles per hour. I misread that somehow. And I actually went slow-mo a little too soon. So there we go. We'll do 16 times there. That one crushed well. The tires got deflated, but I didn't see anything about the driveline getting damaged. Yeah, we can still change the direction of the vehicle, and we can still accelerate, I'm pretty sure. Let me check this for sure. No, actually, we can't accelerate. Drive shaft is broken. I just saw the message right there. Somehow I didn't notice it earlier. All right, well, that'll do it for this map. Now we can just move on to Leap of Death. And for a little variety here, we can go ahead and do one where we have a roll cage and another where we don't have a roll cage. So I'm pretty sure the Regency drag version does have a roll cage, and it'll be able to go very, very fast. So it's going to make it like a 2-impact crash, but I'm totally fine with that. We're hitting the end of the ramp, and let's just see how far it can go. If it flies too far, I'll do it again. It's a slower speed, but I wanted to see how far it could get if you really just gunned it. And the answer is pretty far. It actually got past that little road right there. And then for the impact, a little bit of a lag spike and obliterated. I definitely want to do this again with a slower speed crash, though that way I can compare it to one without a roll cage a little bit easier, because I'm not going to get an impact that harsh on one without a roll cage. Although again, I'm noticing kind of a low frame rate with this vehicle here. I mean, you probably notice it as well too, but yeah, kind of annoying and that it keeps doing that. Hopefully if we reset it, we'll be good to go. It slowly rises after you spawn it. I'm assuming it's the Stig's fault. Whoops! Well, drive shaft is broken, so that did not work out. What happened is the wheels got stuck on the jump, which just sometimes happens. So try to go a little bit slower this time, then floor it. We'll go off the jump about 40 50 miles per hour. It's a good number. This is a much more reasonable one that can be duplicated with pretty much any version of the vehicle. And again, we're going to do this at full speed. That one looked perfect the way it landed so smoothly. No damage to the vehicle, really. Like, for what it's doing, it's no damage. If you went and buy, and if you went on Craigslist and buy a car and it said no damage and it looks like that, yeah, you can complain. But if you threw a car off a cliff and it looked like that after the first impact, you say that has like no damage. Now that, on the other hand, does have some damage. So interestingly enough, the slower you go, the less damage you get. I mean, it makes sense in a way because you're more likely to have those light impacts that keep the car from getting absolutely obliterated. So this time, let's go with a white red Delta 88. Just a normalish version of the car with a fancy looking roof. And this one has a different colored interior than the other one. There's a handful of different stuff that I didn't show you about this car. But there is just a lot to it. And there's basically, if I was to say it has this, I would basically just be reading a spreadsheet to you guys because it's so many parts and so many configurations. It's just like, that would be unbelievably boring. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to drive some of them around and then throw some of them off cliffs. And you can see right there, though, the roof got damaged really easily on this one because it doesn't have the roll cage. That is a very strong and functional roll cage on this vehicle. We'll let it go all the way to the water, and then we will end the video there. So until next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya. Fire, go out. You're in the water, you maniac.